In the bustling heart of New York City, where skyscrapers pierced the sky like gleaming trumpets heralding ambition, a crowd gathered under the golden glow of streetlights. It was an ordinary evening in Central Park, but something extraordinary was about to unfold. Picture this: a world-famous millionaire musician, clad in a tailored suit that screamed success, steps onto a makeshift stage with his polished trumpet in hand. Across from him stands a simple girl from a small town, her old, dented instrument clutched tightly, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and determination. What started as a playful challenge would shatter expectations, forge unbreakable bonds, and remind us all that true talent isn't measured in dollars or fame. If this hooks you right from the start, hit that like button and subscribe for more heart-stirring stories that prove dreams can come true. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Her name was Elena, a 22-year-old waitress from a forgotten corner of rural Pennsylvania, where the only music that filled the air was the hum of tractors and the occasional radio static. She had grown up in a modest home, the kind with creaky floors and walls adorned with faded family photos. Music was her escape, her secret passion. Her grandfather, a retired factory worker with calloused hands and a heart full of melodies, had taught her to play the trumpet when she was just 8. "It's not about the notes, Ellie," he'd say, his voice rough like gravel, "it's about the soul you pour into them." But life had a way of dimming dreams. After her grandfather passed away 2 years ago, leaving her with his battered trumpet and a mountain of medical bills, Elena moved to the city, scraping by on tips and late-night shifts. She played in subway stations for spare change, her music a quiet rebellion against the grind. Enter Victor Langford, the millionaire maestro. At 35, he was the epitome of rags-to-riches glory in the jazz world. Born in the Bronx to immigrant parents, Victor had clawed his way up from street performances to sold-out arenas, his trumpet solos earning him Grammys, endorsements, and a penthouse overlooking the Hudson. But success had hardened him. The adulation, the private jets, the endless parties, they had turned his passion into a performance, a commodity. Victor was known for his arrogance, his sharp tongue in interviews, and his habit of challenging up-and-comers to duels that inevitably left them humbled. It was his way of staying on top, or so he told himself. Deep down, though, a void gnawed at him, a loneliness that no amount of wealth could fill. His music had lost its fire, it was technically flawless but emotionally empty. The challenge happened by chance, or perhaps fate. Victor was strolling through Central Park after a grueling rehearsal, his entourage trailing behind like shadows. He heard it first, a trumpet melody drifting through the trees, raw and haunting, pulling at something long buried in his chest. Following the sound, he found Elena busking near Bethesda Fountain, her eyes closed as she poured her grief into a soulful rendition of "Summertime." A small crowd had gathered, mesmerized. Victor smirked, seeing an opportunity for content. He pulled out his phone, went live on social media, and interrupted her. "Hey, kid," he called out, his voice amplified by fame. "Think you can handle a real duel? Me versus you, right here, right now. Winner takes the spotlight." The crowd erupted, phones flashing. Elena froze, her cheeks flushing. She knew who he was, everyone did. But in that moment, with her grandfather's words echoing in her mind, she nodded. "You're on." The duel began simply enough. Victor went first, his fingers dancing across the valves with precision honed from years of mastery. His notes soared, intricate and dazzling, a cascade of technical brilliance that drew gasps from the onlookers. He played a fusion of jazz standards, weaving in improvisations that showcased his speed and range. The crowd cheered, already declaring him the victor in their minds. But Elena? She stood there, trumpet at her lips, waiting her turn. When it came, she didn't try to match his flair. Instead, she played from the heart, a slow, melancholic piece her grandfather had composed, infused with the pain of loss, the quiet strength of perseverance. Her notes weren't perfect, there were slight wavers, a raw edge that spoke of real life. But they resonated, cutting through the noise of the city like a whisper in a storm. The crowd fell silent, then erupted in applause that drowned out Victor's earlier ovation. Victor was stunned. For the first time in years, he felt exposed, his polished facade cracking. He demanded a rematch, but Elena, emboldened, suggested they collaborate instead. "Music isn't a battle," she said softly, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. "It's a conversation." Reluctantly, Victor agreed, and they improvised together. His technical prowess blended with her emotional depth, creating something magical, a duet that wove triumph and vulnerability into every note. The video went viral overnight, millions watching as the millionaire musician was humbled by a simple girl. But it was more than that, it was the spark that reignited Victor's passion. As the story spread, challenges arose. Elena's sudden fame brought jealousy from her co-workers and skepticism from the media, who painted her as a publicity stunt. "Is she really that good, or just lucky?" headlines blared. She doubted herself, especially when Victor invited her to his studio for a recording session. There, under the harsh lights, her insecurities flared. "I don't belong here," she confessed one night, staring at the gleaming equipment. Victor, surprisingly vulnerable, shared his own story, how he'd lost his parents young, how music had been his lifeline until fame turned it into a cage. "We all feel like imposters sometimes," he admitted. Their bond deepened, turning from rivals to mentors and friends. But the biggest hurdle came when Elena discovered Victor's label wanted to sign her, but only if she polished her style, code for erasing her raw authenticity. The resolution unfolded in a whirlwind of emotions. Elena faced a choice: conform for success or stay true to her roots. Inspired by Victor's evolving humility, she chose authenticity. Together, they produced an album that fused their worlds, his sophistication with her soulfulness. The launch concert in Central Park, a year after their duel, was electric. Thousands attended, including Elena's mother, who had driven through the night to be there. As they played their duet, Victor paused midway, handing the spotlight to Elena. "This isn't about me anymore," he said into the mic, "it's about us, all of us who dare to dream." Tears flowed freely, not just from the audience, but from Victor and Elena too. The performance ended with a standing ovation, symbolizing not just musical triumph, but personal growth. In the aftermath, everything changed. Elena's career blossomed. She toured modestly, using her earnings to pay off debts and start a music program for underprivileged kids in her hometown. Victor, transformed, founded a foundation to mentor young artists, stepping back from the spotlight to rediscover joy in creation. Their friendship endured, a testament to how one challenge could bridge worlds. Elena often reflected on that fateful evening, realizing that the real duel wasn't between trumpets, but against the barriers we build around our hearts. And so, dear viewers, as we wrap up this tale that began with a spark in Central Park and ends with lives forever altered, remember, greatness isn't born from wealth or status, it's forged in the fires of courage and connection. If this story touched your soul, smash that like button, subscribe for more inspiring narratives, and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Who knows? Your own life-changing moment might be just one challenge away. Keep dreaming, keep playing, and let your true self shine.